The room was silent. A dozen alien officers stood around a glowing table in a dark war chamber. The air smelled of heat, fear, and metal. On the screen in front of them was a single name, Eva K7, under the name. The stats appeared one by one. Missions completed. 197 confirmed kills. 4,391 injuries taken. 0 failed missions. 0 total fleets destroyed. 9 survival. Rate 100%. The youngest officer, a green-skinned Zarnok, looked up in disbelief.
This
has to be wrong, he whispered. Another officer, a tall insectoid from Hive Sector 9, clicked his jaws. No mistake, he said coldly. These stats are real. We triple-checked. She is human. She was codenamed Echo. The room stayed quiet. Everyone had heard rumors of a deadly human long ago, a ghost soldier, a shadow on the battlefield. But they thought she was a story, a warning told to new recruits. Now, the war table showed proof. Why now, one of them asked. Why? Are we talking about her? She disappeared 7 years ago? A voice spoke from the back. Deep, calm, dangerous. Because she's not dead, said General Threx, leader of the Galactic Security Council. His red skin shimmered in the low light. We found traces, small ones, but clear. He tapped the screen. A map appeared. She's hiding on a classy farming planet in the Outer Rim. No cities, no tech, just dirt and silence. And she's using a fake name. He paused. Her name now is Eva, far away on a quiet green planet with no wars, no noise, and no history. A young woman sat alone. She was dressed in plain clothes. Her hands were dirty with soil. She worked the land like everyone else in the village. No one knew her past. No one asked. She helped old people fix fences. She played with children. She smiled often, but never laughed. Her eyes always watched the sky. Eva lived in a small wooden house with no weapons, no computers, and no signs of war. But inside her home, under the floorboards, there was a box, locked, buried deep in that box were things no one ever saw. A black combat suit, a plasma knife, and a data chip with the words, Project Hellspawn, terminated. Back at the Galactic Command Base, the officers watched old footage. In one video, Eva moved through a battlefield like smoke, fast, silent, deadly. Ships exploded behind her. Enemies screamed. She never stopped. She destroyed the Zarn Empire. In 3 days? One officer whispered. Alone? Another added. Why did she disappear? Someone asked. General Threx turned to face them. She was ordered to kill civilians on her last mission. She refused. She vanished before anyone could. Stop her. He looked around the room. But now, we need her again. On the farming planet, Eva sat under the stars. She didn't sleep much. Old memories never left her. She remembered the screams, the burning worlds, the missions that never ended, the orders that grew darker each time. She also remembered the day she ran. It wasn't fear that made her leave. It was something stronger, the decision to stop killing. Now, for 7 years, she had lived in peace. She had planted things, not destroyed them. She had learned the names of birds instead of guns. But tonight, she felt something. A shift in the air, shadow on the wind. Something was coming in orbit above her planet. Small ship arrived, quiet. Hidden inside was a young bounty hunter named Krell. He was a Yulin part machine, part flesh with eyes, that could track movement from space. He had read the reports. He had studied the footage. He didn't believe them. No one could be that strong, that fast, that deadly. She's just one human, he said to himself. He landed near the village and walked through the forest. Children played in the fields. Old farmers smiled. He saw a woman helping build a fence. She looked up at him, calm, unafraid. It was her. Eva Krel stood still. He felt sweat on his back. He had trained for this. He had weapons hidden in his coat. He was told to bring her in. Dead or alive, But now, standing in front of her, he felt unsure. Her eyes were not full of anger. They were tired, quiet. "I'm looking for someone," Krell said, trying to sound casual. Eva tilted her head. "Who?" "A human. Dangerous. Killed thousands. Name's Eva K7. She smiled. "Just a little. You're looking at her," she said softly. "But I'm retired." Krell blinked. Was this a joke? She looked like a normal woman. Dirty hands, simple clothes, no weapons. "How do I know it's really you?" he asked. Eva wiped her hands on her shirt and pointed to the sky. "You see that mountain?" she said. "During the last war, I took out a destroyer from there, crashed it into the enemy fleet." Krell laughed nervously. "You expect me to believe that?" Eva didn't answer. She walked past him, slow and calm. "I'm not here to fight anymore," she said. "But if they send more, if they hurt these people," she stopped and turned, "I won't run again." In space, a signal was sent. Target confirmed. Eva located. Preparing extraction. The hunt had begun. Back at the Galactic War Room, General Threx got the message. He smiled for the first time in years. "She's alive," he said, "but not for long." The sun rose slowly over the quiet planet. Birds chirped. Farmers walked into fields. Children ran to gather water. Everything looked normal, but Eva didn't move from her small wooden chair. She sat outside her home, staring at the forest edge. She had felt it last night, the change in the air. Now she was sure something was coming. Krell stayed hidden among the trees. He held a small device in his hand, connected to the Galactic Command. A soft voice whispered through his earpiece. "Confirm. Target location, backup arriving, do not engage." He watched Eva from a distance. She wasn't acting like a soldier. She was watching the wind, the leaves, the dirt, but something about her made his skin crawl. She wasn't afraid. She was ready, back in space. A black ship dropped out of warp near the planet. It was invisible to satellites, silent to scanners. Inside were 6 elite alien soldiers, cyber-augmented, trained to capture or kill high-value targets. The lead soldier. Captain Roven reviewed the mission again. Human female. Eva K7, dangerous. No mercy. He looked at the photo. Just a woman. Thin. Quiet. He laughed. "She looks harmless." The pilot responded flatly. "That's what the last squad said, before she burned their dropship." In the village, Eva helped a young boy repair a broken cart. He smiled up at her. "You're strong, Miss Eva. Were you a warrior?" She paused, eyes narrowing just slightly. "Something like that," she said, handing him a wooden beam. Just then, she heard it. Soft humming. Almost like wind, but wrong. Too steady. Too cold. She looked up. The sun was behind clouds, but a shadow passed across the field. Her eyes locked on the forest edge. Krell was gone, in the trees. Krell moved back as the black ship silently landed. Behind him, the elite team stepped out. Their armor made no noise. Their faces were hidden behind glass helmets. He whispered, "You shouldn't have come like this." The lead soldier raised a finger. "Silence. The asset is not your concern." "Anymore?" "But the village, there are children here." Captain didn't answer. He turned to his squad and gave the order, "Move in." Eva walked slowly toward her home. She didn't run. She didn't shout. But inside her heart, a storm began to rise. She reached the small wooden floor in her house. She knelt, pulled up a loose plank, and opened the hidden box. Inside was the black combat suit folded perfectly, the plasma knife, and the chip. She closed her eyes and said one word, "Sorry." Then she changed. The elite team approached the village square. One of them pointed. "Target is inside the house. Prepare stun rounds." But before they could move, something changed. A loud sound tore through the air, a thud like thunder. Then a soldier turned, but it was already too late. Something hit him hard, too fast to see, and threw him across the field like a rag doll. Another soldier raised his weapon. A hand grabbed it, twisted it, and shattered it in two. Eva stood in the open now, but she was no longer the quiet farm girl. Her black suit glowed faint blue lines. Her eyes were cold, her hands steady. The captain shouted, "Engage!" But none of them could move fast enough. Eva was everywhere like a shadow with teeth. She ducked. Under fire, kicked one soldier into a tree, and spun to take down two more with her plasma knife. They didn't scream. There was no time. Within 20 seconds, only the captain was left. He backed away, raising his hands. "Wait, listen. Wait." Walked slowly. Toward him. "No one touches this village," she said. "I gave the galaxy peace, but it never gave me any." She hit him once. Just once. He didn't get up. From the forest, Krell watched. Frozen. He had never seen anything like it. She wasn't fast. She was faster than fast. Her movements were not angry. They were controlled. Like she had done this 1,000 times before, because she had. He stepped forward. "You saved them," he said softly. Eva turned, breathing hard. Her face was calm, but her eyes were darker now. "I didn't want to," she said. "But they left me no choice." The village came running. People stared at the destroyed team, at Ava's glowing suit, at the fear in the eyes of a survivor who limped away. No one spoke. A little girl walked up and took Ava's hand. "Are you a hero?" she asked. Ava looked down. "No," she said quietly, "just someone tired of running." That night, Eva sat. By the fire, Krell stood nearby, watching her. "You can't stay here," he said. "They'll send more." "I know," she replied. "Then why protect this place?" She looked at the stars. "Because for 7 years I felt human here. I planted things. I laughed. I held babies. I remembered what peace felt like." Turned toward him. "And now I remember what war feels like, too." Far above in deep space, General Threx received the report. His hands clenched. Team Rovan, eliminated. "Confirmed target Eva K7. Another officer asked, "What do we do?" Now, Threx's eyes burned. "We send everyone." The galactic night was silent, but Krell couldn't sleep. He sat on top of his small scout ship, hidden deep in the forest far from the village. He kept thinking about what he saw. Eva, the quiet girl who helped villagers plant trees, had turned into something terrifying. She didn't just fight the soldiers. She destroyed them, with no backup, no weapons cache, just her hands, her suit, and her calm anger. Krell needed answers. At sunrise, he sent a coded message to an old contact. In the Galactic Archives, the message was simple. "Send me everything on Eva K7. Priority, ghost file access. Use backdoor protocol Zeta Black." A minute later, a warning flashed across his screen. "Level 10 clearance required. File classified extinction level threat." Then, the real file opened, and what he read made his blood freeze. Eva wasn't just a soldier. She was part of something called Project Hellspawn, a secret human experiment that had been deleted from all public records. According to the file, only 7 children were selected for the program. Only 1 survived. Eva, the file, detailed everything. She had been taken from Earth at age 6, raised in a black site. Lab trained not just in weapons and tactics, but also in psychological warfare. Zero-gravity combat, language hacking, and emotional suppression. She had been taught to kill before. She was taught to read KREL, kept scrolling. The stats didn't even feel real. Survived 38 missions by age 12, took down 3 full warships by age 15, disobeyed direct orders only once. Result, she destroyed her own command base and disappeared, and under all that. One final note. Warning, if subject returns to active status, consider planetary evacuation. Krell whispered. What the hell is she? Meanwhile, back in the village, Eva helped build a new school roof. The children didn't know what happened 2 nights ago. The villagers only whispered. She still smiled, still worked, still stayed quiet. But something had changed. She kept her suit nearby now, hidden, but ready. And every morning she scanned the sky. That evening, Krell approached her. You were trained to be a weapon. he said. Eva didn't deny it. She sat on the porch, sharpening her knife slowly. They didn't train me to be human, she said. Just useful. I sat beside her. I saw the files. They called you Hellspawn. Looked at the stars. They tried to make me a monster. Maybe they succeeded. Krell asked the question burning in his mind. Why did you stop? Ava's voice was soft but heavy. They sent me to wipe out a planet, full of civilians, children, just to make a point. She paused. I killed the generals instead. Then I vanished. Back at Galactic Command, panic was spreading. General Threx stood in front of a full war council. We made a mistake, he admitted. We should have erased her when we had the chance. One officer asked, Why are we so afraid of one human? Another replied, She's not just any human. She's the one we used to scare other monsters. They voted and passed Protocol Eclipse. The order was simple. EVA-K7 must be erased. Entire planet is authorized for cleansing if necessary. In a cold steel room far below the War Council chambers, an old figure watched the file reopen. He was bald, thin, with cold eyes, a man with no rank now, no name in the system. But once, he had trained her. Still alive, Echo? He whispered. He touched a photo on the screen. It showed a little girl, no older than 9, standing over a wrecked combat bot, her eyes empty. I told him you'd come back. He turned to his assistant. Wake the Black Ops units. Prepare the silence protocol. On the peaceful planet, Krell made his decision. He walked to Ava's door and said, We have to leave. Eva looked at him, calm but firm. I'm not running again. They're coming with everything this time. They gave permission to destroy this world. I know, she said. Then why stay? Eva stood and looked at the village, the homes, the children, the laughing people. I finally built something, and I won't let them burn it. Krell hesitated. You're not afraid of them? Eva smiled faintly. I was trained to end wars. But now, I just want to protect one little corner of the galaxy. That night, as stars blinked quietly above, a transmission echoed through every major war channel. The ghost of war is alive. EVA-K7 has reactivated. Repeat, Hellspawn has returned. Across the stars, mercenaries armed their ships. Bounty hunters polished their guns. Soldiers reviewed old footage, shaking their heads in fear. The hunt was growing, and this time, Galaxy was ready to play dirty. But Eva wasn't the same girl. They trained. She was older now, smarter, and more dangerous than ever, and she had something to fight for. The bounty was announced across the galaxy. 10 million credits for the live capture of EVA-K7. 20 million if delivered dead. Location: Sector 14B. Outer Rim farming world. Every bounty hunter, pirate, and mercenary heard it. Some laughed, some loaded their weapons. All of them remembered the name Eva, the ghost, the demon, the last human weapon now. They wanted to test their luck on the quiet farming planet. The people had started to whisper. They saw ships moving in the sky at night. They found pieces of metal in the forest. Burnt drone wings, cracked visors. They noticed Eva walking the edges of the village each morning. She was different now. Her eyes didn't rest. Her suit stayed close, and at night, when the stars blinked red, she never looked away. Krell watched her train. She moved with perfect control, her arms sharp, her footwork silent. She didn't waste a single movement. You really think you can stop them all? He asked. Eva kept moving, breathing steady. I don't have to stop them all, she said, just enough to scare the rest. Krell didn't argue. He had already seen what she could do. But he also knew this wasn't just about strength anymore. This was a war of numbers, and Eva was just one person, in deep space. 3 ships approached the farming planet. Each one belonged to a different crew, hunters from 3 different species. They had never worked together before, but the money was too good, and the fear? That just made the reward sweeter. Their leader, a cold-eyed reptilian named Varn, smiled as he looked at Ava's photo. She's fast. She's deadly. But she's alone. Second in command, a spider-like creature with 12 eyes, hissed. For 20 million, I'll tear her apart one bone at a time. They all laughed. They had no idea what waited for them that night. Eva stood on a hill outside the village. Krell stood beside her, holding a long-range scanner. 3 incoming ships, he said. Heavily armed, fast. ETA, 1 hour. Ida nodded. Get everyone into the caves. What about you? I'm staying. Krell frowned. You can't fight them all alone. She looked out over the hills, where lights blinked in the darkness. I've done it before. The villagers didn't ask questions. They packed bags, held their children close, and followed Krell toward the hidden caves. No one stopped Eva. They just looked at her with quiet fear and something else. 2. Hope. The first ship landed in the northern field. The second came down in the forest. The third hovered over the village, scanning with red beams. Eva stood alone in the center of the road, dressed in black. Her hair was tied back. Her suit hummed softly. Her knife rested in her belt. She didn't hide. She waited. The hunters came in fast, firing shock rounds and energy traps, but Eva moved before they could aim. She sprinted toward the first squad and slammed her boot into the ground, sending dust flying. Then she vanished into it. Screams followed. One hunter dropped to the ground, his neck broken. Another flew into a wall. Within 10 seconds, the first group was out. The second team came in from the side. They used heat scanners, sonic disruptors, but Eva used their sound against them, drawing them into a trap she had built the day before, a buried EMP mine. When it triggered, their weapons shut down. She didn't. She charged in, swift and clean. A punch to the jaw, twist of the wrist. A broken spine, no wasted moves, no mercy. The last group tried to run. They fired from the air, using a low-hovering gunship, but Eva leaped onto the roof of a broken home, then onto a tree, and from there she jumped. She landed on the gunship. Mid-dash air she drove her knife into its engine core and leapt off, just as it exploded behind her. The flames lit up the sky. Krell watched from the cave entrance. Wide-eyed. She's a whole army, he whispered. When it was over, Eva stood alone. In the field, smoke rose behind her. The grass was burned. The trees were silent. She had blood on her arms, none of it hers. She walked back toward the village. The villagers came out slowly. One child clapped, then another soon. They all stood together, silent, unsure. Then one old woman walked up and took Ava's hand. You didn't run? She said. Ava looked at her with tired eyes. I don't run anymore. In space, the failed hunters sent one final message before going dark. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. A human. She is death with a name. But others didn't listen. The bounty doubled the next day. More were coming, more ships, more killers. But so was something worse. A voice from Ava's past, deep inside a forgotten war station. A message was sent. Subject Eva K7 has broken. Silence. Reactivate her creator. Begin phase black. Bring in the handler. A man stepped into the light, old, scarred, cold. He looked at the hollow image of Eva, paused, then smiled. I told him she'd come back. The village was safe for now. Burned grass and broken metal lay across the fields. The bounty hunters were gone, either dead or running scared. Eva sat under a tree, her combat suit scratched and dusty. She held her knife, but it rested loosely. In her hand now, her body was calm, her mind was not. Krell walked up, holding 2 metal canisters. Water, he said. You need to drink. Eva didn't look at him. They're not stopping. I know, Krell said, but you're still standing. They're afraid now. She shook her head. They haven't sent the real monsters yet. Krell sat beside her. You mean more bounty hunters? Eva looked into the distance. No, I mean him. Far away, inside a cold, black station, orbiting a dying star. A man opened a door marked Project Hellspawn. Vault O inside were memories buried deep files. Recordings and the past Eva tried to forget. The man was known only as the Handler. had no rank, no name left in the system. But he had built her. He had broken her. He watched old footage play. A little girl, be 8 years old, fighting 3 grown soldiers in a training room. She moved fast, brutal. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. At the end, she stood over them, breathing hard, blood on her fists. "Good girl," his voice said in the old recording. "Now do it again." Back on the planet, Krell held up a data chip. "I found this. In one of the wrecked ships," he said, "encrypted. Took me all night to crack it." Eva raised an eyebrow. "What's on it?" He pressed play. A voice filled the air. Cold, deep, familiar. To all units. Phase Black is approved. Eva K7 is to be reconditioned. If reconditioning fails, terminate. Operation under direct control of the handler. Eva's face froze. Her hand clenched the knife without thinking. Krell stepped back. "Who is he?" She closed her eyes. "My maker." Eva stood and walked into the forest. Krell followed her. She stopped by a broken tree and sat down on a fallen log. "He took me when I was 6, she said. "Told me my parents gave me away. Said I was lucky." Krell sat quietly. "He trained me in a box. No sunlight, no warmth, just weapons, tests, pain." She looked at her hands. "I didn't even speak until I was 10. I just followed orders. I didn't know what it meant to be a child." She paused. "Every time I failed, he'd punish someone else. Another kid. A guard. So I learned to win. Always." Krell asked gently, "What made you stop?" Ava's voice cracked, just slightly. "He sent me on a mission. Told me to bomb a rebel base. But it wasn't a base." She looked up, eyes filled with old pain. It was a school. In the war station, the handler spoke to a group of soldiers, not normal ones. They were enhanced, like Eva once was. Silent, cold, fast. "Your target is unstable," he said. "She remembers too much. She thinks she has a heart." He showed them a picture of the village. "She has weakness now. Use it. Break it." One of the soldiers asked, "Do we kill her?" The handler smiled. "No. You bring her home." At night, Eva walked alone. She stopped at a small hilltop and looked up at the stars. She knew they were watching her now. The real threat wasn't mercenaries or bounty hunters. It was them. It's the people who built her, who knew her every move, every scar, every nightmare. They didn't want to kill her. They wanted to control. "Her again?" she whispered to the stars. "I'm not your weapon anymore." Krell waited by the fire when she returned. "We need to prepare," he said. "If he's coming, we need traps, signals, support." "No," Eva said. "He won't fall for traps. He created them." Krell looked confused. "Then what do we do?" She looked straight into his eyes. "I go to him." The next morning, Eva packed light. Just her suit, her knife, a small comlink. Krell tried to stop her. "You'll die if you go alone." Eva answered, "No. He'll never stop unless I end this. I have to face what I was." She smiled faintly. "You take care of the village." Krell stepped in front of her. "You're not alone anymore." "Why I have to do this?" She walked into the mountains, toward an old launch site she once used. A child from the village ran up and handed her a small flower. "For luck," the child said. Eva took it gently. She didn't smile, but she kept it in orbit. The handler received a message. "She's coming." He didn't react, just turned to his soldiers. "Clean the room. Make it look like home." They nodded and waited. Eva entered the old ship as the engines roared to life. Her reflection appeared on the glass, half soldier, half memory. The sky turned red behind her. The past was coming back. But this time, she was ready. The ship flew through dark space. Eva sat alone in the pilot seat. No music, no lights. Just her breath and the hum of old engines. Ahead of her, the station appeared cold, massive, shaped like a claw gripping a dying star. She remembered it. Well, this was where they built her. This was where they broke her. Inside the station, The handler stood watching the screens. He saw her ship approaching. Calm and steady. She came alone, one officer said. The handler nodded. Of course she did. That's how we trained her. He turned to his squad of enhanced soldiers, all wearing black armor, faces hidden. She still thinks she has control. She still thinks she can choose. He smiled coldly, but she's walking into her cage. Ava's ship docked. She stepped out, slowly, unarmed, hands open. She wore her combat suit. But her knife stayed sheathed. No fear in her eyes, no weakness in her steps. Just focus too. Guards approached. Eva looked at them. You're not ready for what I am, she said. They hesitated, but didn't stop her. She walked through the old halls. Everything was the same. Steel walls, cold lights, the smell of metal and pain. Memories crashed in. The training room, the shock chamber, the white door they made her open the day she had to kill her first friend. She kept walking. In the command room, the handler waited. The lights dimmed. Doors locked. Entered, he stood tall, dressed in a dark coat, hands behind his back. Welcome home, Echo. She didn't answer. He stepped closer. You've aged, but you still have the same fire. It's that same stubborn look. She looked around the room. Still using children to build weapons? He smiled. Only the useful ones. Ava's voice was calm, sharp. That ends today. Suddenly, lights flashed red. Alarms rang. Dova spun, ready. Doors opened. Soldiers rushed. In 12 of them, faster than normal men, just like her. The handler stepped back. Let's test you, Ko. See if you still deserve the name. The soldiers moved in. Eva didn't wait. The room exploded into motion. She ducked the first punch, slid under a kick, and twisted behind the nearest soldier. She broke his arm and used him as a shield. 2 more charged. She flipped between them, grabbed a shock baton, slammed it into one's helmet. Sparks flew. Another came from behind. She rolled forward and threw a broken chair leg like a spear. Direct hit. He dropped, but they kept coming. They were trained like her, but they weren't. She had something they did. Pain. Pain. Freedom. They had only programming. She had purpose. In 5 minutes. All 12 soldiers were down. Eva breathed hard, bleeding slightly from her lip, one hand shaking. She looked at the handler. I'm not your weapon. He didn't speak. He pressed a button. Behind him, a hidden wall opened. A massive machine stood inside. Part ship, part AI, part war, project. Leviathan, the final secret weapon. You destroyed my future, he said. So I built another. The floor shook. Leviathan powered up. Massive arms unfolded. Red eyes blinking, weapons charging. Eva backed up slowly. Seriously? The handler laughed. You're not the only thing I perfected. Leviathan spoke for the first time. Eva Casavan locked. Beginning elimination. Back on the planet, Krell stood on a hill. He looked up at the sky. Stars flickered. Strangely, something was wrong. He ran to the communication dish and hacked into the command frequencies. Static, then. A voice. To all fleets, permission granted. Begin orbital cleansing. Krell froze. They weren't just after Eva. They were going to destroy the whole planet. In the command room, Vod dodged a blast from Leviathan. The floor shattered behind her. She sprinted up a broken support beam and leapt onto the machine's shoulder. She stabbed the joint. Sparks flew. Leviathan roared and spun, throwing her into a wall. She landed hard. Her bones ached. Her lungs burned. But she got back up. You can't win, the handler shouted. This is your legacy. You are death. Eva stared at him. No. She pressed a button on her belt, a silent code. Her ship docked outside, received the signal. Inside, its core began to glow. Overload countdown. She ran toward the control console. Leviathan charged after. Hershey slid under its arm, jumped, grabbed a loose wire, swung to the other side. She kicked the handler in the chest, sending him flying into the console. Sparks exploded. Leviathan paused, confused, damaged. Eva climbed up the machines. Back. Let's finish this, she said. She ripped out a power core cable and jammed it into its neck. The machine screamed. She jumped off. Just before it exploded, the room was on fire. The handler crawled through the smoke. Coughing, Eva stood over him. He looked up even. Now, they'll never stop coming for you. Eva bent down. I know, she said. She turned and ran toward her ship back on the planet. Krell watched as enemy ships appeared in orbit. Dozens of them lights. Blinked, weapons charged. Then something bright appeared in the sky. A massive explosion. Far above the war station. Was gone. Eva had blown it apart. One by one, the enemy ships received an alert. Command signal lost. Mission hold. Confused. The fleet scattered. They weren't ready for a war without orders. And Eva, she wasn't done yet. Her ship returned to the planet, barely holding together. She stepped out. Bruised, limping. The villagers ran to her. Children smiled. Krell helped her stand. She didn't speak. She just looked at the stars. And for the first time, they looked quiet. The sky was clear again. The stars above no longer blinked with warships. No more drones circled the village. The sounds of lasers and metal had gone quiet, but Eva knew. This was not peace. It was the pause before the next attack. The kind of silence that comes before a storm. She sat by the river, her feet in the water, a bandage around her shoulder. Krell sat nearby, watching her. You destroyed the war station, he said. You killed Leviathan. You ended the handler. Eva stared at her. Reflection in the water, but not the war. Krell frowned. What do you mean? I'll send someone else, she said. They always do. I was never the only monster they built, just the best one. A small child came running, holding a toy gun. Miss Eva. Did you really fly through? A fireball. Eva smiled faintly. Just once. Can I do that too one day? But she looked at him quiet. I hope not. Across the galaxy, news of Ava's return spread like wildfire. Entire fleets backed down from missions. Leaders held emergency meetings. Some offered her truce. Others offered her death, and one man, the most dangerous of them all, offered revenge. He was known only as Commander RHEL, an old friend of the handler, warlord who once trained the other surviving children from Project HELL's PAWN. Now, he controlled a fleet called the Red Chain. 10,000 soldiers. No mercy. All loyal to him. He stood in a red command room, staring at a photo of Eva. She thinks she's free, he said. She thinks she's human again. He crushed the photo in his hand. We'll remind her what she really is. Back on the peaceful planet, Eva walked through the village one last time. She greeted every person, fixed a roof, carried buckets, sat with the old woman under the big tree. Krell watched her closely. You're saying goodbye, he said. Eva nodded. They'll come here again. But this time, they won't stop at me. They'll burn everything. So what will you do? She looked up at the stars. I'll end it. Not for me, for them. That night, she stood at the top of the hill. Her ship was ready, refueled, armed, quiet. Krell stood beside her. You could hide, the villagers would understand. Eva shook her head. I'm done hiding. She placed something in his hand, a data chip. If I don't come back, tell them who I was. Not the killer, not the weapon. The woman who chose to fight for peace. Krell nodded. You still scare me? She smiled, soft but real. Good. That means I'm still dangerous. Far across the stars, Commander Rel's fleet arrived at the edge of the galaxy. His soldiers wore black-red armor. His ships looked like knives. In the center of his flagship, a massive screen showed only one image. Eva K7. He turned to his crew. Begin.
Ava's
Ship appeared near a dying moon, the meeting point she chose. Her signal was clear. This ends tonight. Come face me. No armies, no tricks, Commander Ryle replied, gladly. His ship landed. He stepped out, armored. Eyes like cold glass. He walked across the gray dust of the moon and found Eva waiting. She stood tall. No backup, no fear. You should have died years ago, he said. You should have stayed in your cage. Eva looked at him. I broke the cage. You're still inside it. They circled each other slowly. You were my sister, Rael said. We trained together. We bled together. No, Eva said. You trained to obey? I trained to survive. You betrayed us all. Eva's eyes narrowed. No, I chose to be more than what they made me. The fight began without warning. He charged first, fast and brutal. She moved like wind, dodging, striking back. They clashed like gods. Dust flew. Rocks shattered. Sparks lit the air. He was strong, but she was free, and that made all the difference. He struck her hard. She fell. He grabbed her throat. You were born for war. She smiled, blood in her mouth. I was reborn for peace. She slammed a hidden spike into his side. He roared in pain. She twisted out, rolled, and landed behind him. And then she did something he never expected. She didn't kill him. She dropped her weapon. Walk away, she said. You can still choose. He looked at her, stunned, furious. I will never be like you. She turned and walked toward her ship. Exactly. Back on the planet, Krell received a message. It's over. Eva returned as the sun rose. She was limping. Her suit was torn. She was alive. The children ran to her. The villagers cheered. The old woman placed a flower crown on her head. Eva, for the first time in years, laughed. A real laugh. Krell asked, So, what now? Eva looked at the village, then at the hills, the trees, the sky. I think I'll plant something. He smiled, retired again. She smiled too, quiet and calm. For real this time. But in the far corners of space, a small signal blinked. A new name appeared in the files, and someone whispered, Eva K7 is off the board. But a girl like that never really retires. Eva walked through the village with a quiet peace in her step. Children ran past. Her flowers bloomed on old stone walls. The sun was warm on her back, and for the first time in many years, she didn't feel watched. Her weapons were locked away. Her ship sat silent under a tarp. Her name no longer echoed across enemy files. No one called her K-7. Just Eva. A gardener. A helper. A quiet woman who told stories near the fire and laughed with the kids who didn't know what war meant. Krell sat beside her on the hill one evening. You've changed, he said. Eva smiled. So have you, pointed at her hands. Rough from work, not combat. Do you miss it? She didn't answer quickly. Then, I miss being needed, not feared. In space, all was silent. Commander Rial had disappeared. The red chain scattered. No bounty remained on her head. Galactic governments pretended she never existed. The war machine moved on, and for a while, so did she, until one day a ship arrived. Small, quiet, broken. It landed just outside the village. Eva walked toward it. Hand on her knife for the first time in months. The door opened slowly. A young girl stepped out, maybe 12 years old. Thin, frayed, eyes dark with memory. She looked up. At Eva and whispered, Are you the monster that got free? Eva didn't move. She nodded. I was. The girl held out a data chip, shaking. They built more. Yeah, took it. Scanned it. Her breath stopped. Project Wildfire. Active. 147 children. Training starts soon. One of the names listed. Subject W-5, the girl's name. Eva sat with her by the river later. You escaped? The girl nodded. Double quotes? They told me I'd be a hero. The pain made me strong. That fear was training. Eva looked into her eyes. I believe that too. The girl asked, Can I stay? Eva didn't smile. She just reached out and gently held her hand. You're home now. That night, Krell found her packing a bag. She was putting on her old combat suit. Quiet, careful, focused. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed. I thought you were done. Eva didn't look at him. I thought so too. He stepped closer. So, what now? Another war? She zipped the suit and turned. No. A rescue. In deep space, on a hidden moon, Project Wildfire had begun. Inside cold metal walls, young children trained with empty abitas. Pain sharpened them. Obedience chained them. Hope was nowhere to be found. Until the lights flickered, doors exploded open, and a shadow stepped in fast. Precise. Unstoppable. Not a soldier, not a killer, but a... "Promise!" the guards shouted. "It's her!" Alarms screamed. Gunfire echoed, but nothing could stop her. One child whispered to another, "The ghost is real." Eva moved through the base like a storm, but not to kill, too free. She shut down their control systems. She smashed the training machines, and she stood between every child and every bullet, one by one. They followed her, not because they were ordered to, but because they wanted to. The final door was locked tight. Eva placed a charge. Boom. Inside were the youngest, barely 10. Some crying, some angry, she knelt. "My name is Eva. I came to take you away from this." A small boy stepped forward. "Are we like you?" She nodded. "But you don't have to be." Back at the village, the stars lit up again. Krell looked to the sky, then at the horizon. Dozens of small ships appeared, carrying children, survivors, escapees, and one battered, scarred fighter landing last. Eva stepped out. Her suit was torn. Her arms were full, holding a sleeping child. She looked exhausted, but her eyes were full of peace. Weeks passed, the village grew. More children came, more memories healed. Eva no longer fought wars. She planted food, built homes, taught others to fight only to protect. She smiled more, and sometimes, when the wind was right, she told stories of the girl she used to be, the killer, the ghost, the monster, and how one day she decided not to be any of those things anymore. One evening, as the stars blinked above, the girl she first saved, W5, sat beside her. "Eva." "Yes. Are you still retired?" Eva looked up then at the children playing nearby, at the tools in her hand, the dirt on her knees, and the peace in her soul. She smiled. "Now I am."